You're not going to move forward into the new things God has in store if you're always replaying the negative things that have happened to you. We've all been through disappointments, setbacks, and bad breaks. Those memories will play the most often. The good news is you have the remote control. Just because the memory comes up doesn't mean you have to watch it. Learn to change the channel. A couple of years after my father went to be with the Lord, I was over at my mother's house to pick something up, and nobody else was home. As I was walking through the den, I began to immediately see the night that my father died. He had had a heart attack in that room. I could see him lying on the floor, and when I arrived, the paramedics were trying to get his heart restarted. And that whole night started to replay in my mind, and I started to feel those same type of emotions. And I did just what I'm asking you to do. I said, no thanks, I'm not going there. I'm not going to relive that night and get all down and discouraged. I simply changed the channel. I started remembering all the great times I'd had with my father. I remember the times that we laughed and had fun, the times we had traveled the world. I remembered the times where he used to come over to our house and play with our little son, Jonathan. There was another channel, I just had to switch over to it. Some of you need to start changing the channel. You're reliving all your hurts, disappointments, bad breaks. As long as you're replaying that, you're never going to really heal. It's like a scab that's starting to get better, but if you keep picking at it, it has to start all over again. Emotional wounds are the same way. If you're always reliving your hurts, watching them on the movie screen of your mind, talking about it, telling your friends, that's just reopening the wound. You have to change the channel. It may be difficult. You may have had a lot of unfair things happen. But when you look back over your life, can you find at least one time where God's done something good for you? Can you remember at least one time where it was the hand of God promoting you, protecting you, healing you? Then switch over to that channel. Get your mind going in a new direction. A reporter asked me not long ago what my biggest regret was, my biggest failure. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I don't remember my biggest regret. I'm not dwelling on that channel. I don't go there. Sure, we all make mistakes. We all do things we wish we had done differently, but that is not supposed to be on the forefront of our minds. You're supposed to remember what you've done right, the times you've succeeded, your victories, the times you overcame the temptation, the times you went out of your way to be kind to a stranger. And the reason some people are not happy is they remember every mistake they've made since 1927. They got a running record. The enemy doesn't have to accuse them. They do it for him. Do yourself a big favor, change the channel. Quit dwelling on how you don't measure up, and you should have spent more time with your children growing up, and you should have been stronger, more disciplined, resisted that temptation. No, you may have fallen, but dwell on the fact that you got back up again. You're here today. You may have made a poor choice, but dwell on the fact that you've made a lot of great choices. You may have some weaknesses, but dwell on the fact that you have a whole lot of strengths. Quit focusing on what's wrong with you and start focusing on what's right with you. You're not going to become everything God's created you to be if you're against yourself. You have to retrain your mind. Be disciplined about what you allow yourself to dwell on. Those negative memories take up the most space. Those movies are going to play the most often. Recognize what's happening and learn to change that channel.